Sa tingin ko, ang importante lang if you identify as a curator is to have that sense that as a curator, you are a carer. You're someone who is not just a custodian who is just able to preserve, able to conserve, able to organize. More than a custodian, you are someone who is able to take care of objects, take care of artists, take care of ecosystems, all of these players that have been contributing to the work of art, and really to take care that you are not someone who would exploit certain forces just so you get your message across. So yun ang accountability ng isang curator sa tingin ko. And even if the word is loosely used now, what's important I think is that if you are using your scholarship, your knowledge, your intuition to bring these ideas together, that you do not mishear the stories, that you do not focus on just one story, that you do not just think about what the artists want also, but also challenge the artists to think differently as well. Yes, it should be a collaboration.
Oo.
If anything, the artist should still have the stage. The curator is someone who is able to understand that they were there to bring this upon the stage, not the central force that allowed this to happen. Nothing against those who would do that, but for me, like I said, mas mainam at mas mahalaga ng ang isang curator ay someone who cares less about their power but how they use their power to bring important stories today.
So, John.
Hello po, magandang hapon at umaga o gabi sa inyong lahat.
Yun, so before we delve into those things na we talked about curating, I just want to, kumbaga, dig deeper muna into your art practice. Kasi I've known you since you were in college, And nung nasa college tayo, you were part of this organization called Heights.
Mm-hmm.
So, wala naman fine arts organization sa Ateneo during our time, except for Heights, which was mostly publication, And you're known now as a cultural worker, as a curator, and as an art writer or a critic din, and a critic. Pero during your younger years, you were also delving into visual arts,
Yes.
which were your works were published in Heights. Can you tell us more about yung college years natin?
Yes, for sure. So, grabe yung college years were matagal na. So, we're looking at more than 10 years ago. But one of the things that I do find really important as something that really influenced me sa aking relationship with the arts is Heights. So, nung sumali ako sa Heights, this is the literary and artistic folio ni Ateneo. I was a freshman. Tapos when I was in the org week, looking at all of the possible organizations there, I noticed that there was this organization nga about literary and artistic folio ng school. And in fact, I actually wanted to join the English department, so in writing, etc., etc. But then I saw you there, Panch. And then yes, I saw you there, and then you said, hindi, sumali ka sa arts. Sabi ko, wala naman akong arts background, wala naman akong any arts related na training or anything, because I was in communications at that time, studying media studies and communications theory. So and film studies. So nung nandun na tayo sa org table ng Heights, sabi mo, hindi, sumali ka sa art. Sabi ko, sige, dahil nga we were dorm mates at that time in college, so I joined the arts department. I didn't get in the English department, but I got into the arts department.
So you can apply to both?
Yes, I applied to both.
Wow.
Tapos, so during that time, syempre medyo malungkot ako kasi sabi ko, no, I really wanted to join the English department. I wanted to know more about how the students of my time here in Ateneo were writing, etc., etc. But then when I joined na rin the artistic department, ay parang doon ako napukaw sa contemporary art, doon ako napukaw sa digital art, doon ako napukaw sa new media art, and so many other ways that art was being practiced by students of our time. So after 4 years later, I became the editor of that department, and
And then you became editor, art
yes, I was art editor. Yeah, I was art editor of Heights for when I was in the senior years. Tapos nung nagkaroon ng chance, I also got to write about the artworks that were submitted to the folio. I also got to write about certain exhibitions that were putting up for Heights during the launching of the folios. So I was also an artist during that time. I did photo manipulation work, mga graphic design work, and while I was doing editorial work, I na-enjoy ko din yung paggawa ng mga digital collage, etc., etc. So, but at that time, I was doing more of those collages because I needed a way to express where I was coming from. Those years were a little bit challenging for me kasi I was mourning and grieving personal loss in the family. So parang for me, arts was a way to express my grief, my questions about life and death and all of these things. So dun siya lumalabas sa aking collage work. But sa tingin ko, honestly, and seeing now where I've come from and where I've gone, it really started there when you told me to, sumali ka dito sa Heights sa arts department. Wala akong alam sa arts. But then I joined and I got in and here we are. Here we are. You don't remember that? No, you don't remember
I don't
that.
remember that. I don't remember. Pero, yeah, I remember now na nagkaabutan tayo sa... but I didn't remember telling you to... Ano. Yeah, I
You
was
were
a
a senior,
senior.
I was a
ano.
freshie.
Yeah, kasi those times I was, not in a good play. I mean, in terms of mindset, ha, kasi, syempre, I was mulling if I should continue to law school or pursue just painting,
Mm-mm.
or, yeah, so, yeah, I don't remember na encouraging. I thought you just joined.
I joined the
Yeah,
the English department and
art.
the arts department, but I didn't get into the English depth. There was an interview process. There were close reading exercises. Hindi ako nakapasok, pero sa arts department, yun, pasok na pasok at I guess I thrived.
Yeah, who was the, who was the
Ellie Javier.
Ellie
Ellie
Javier. Shout out Ellie.
Hello, Ate Ellie.
Yeah, pero yeah, I don't remember na I told you to join. As in, completely
That was you. This is all you, Paj. It's your fault. It's your fault.
No, he's too humble. He had it in him all the time talaga. I mean, I wouldn't have asked you naman siguro if you didn't
But
see.
may I add something just to share again with the Punch? Maybe this is something that also you've forgotten. But when we were together in the dorms, one time you told me to go to the Riverbanks Mall in Marikina. Tapos, sabi mo, punta ka doon, may exhibit doon, ganyan-ganyan. So, I went to the exhibition in Marikina in the Riverbanks Mall. So, I was walking around, just looking at the artworks. I was a freshman, so I was looking around at the artworks. At that time, I was already in Heights, but I didn't know a lot pa about looking at art, how to read art, how to critique art, etc., etc. So, nung tumitingin ako ng mga artworks, sabi ko, okay, maganda, your usual parang appreciating the surface level, etc., etc. But there was this maybe one work that was very gestural, yung kanyang impasto, nagprotrude talaga sa surface. Tapos parang the way the light hit this gestural work was just so expressive for me. Tapos it was this large, huge scale artwork na parang sa tingin ko talaga, parang inabsorb niya ako. I was looking at this artwork. It was just so... It didn't have any figures to it. It was just the energy of the brushstroke, the energy of the impasto, the energy of the surface of the paint. So I went back home. Tapos sabi mo nga, what did you see there? Did you see any artworks there that you liked? Sabi ko, I really like this one work that was, ito nga, I was describing. Then you were like, yeah, that's my work. Sabi ko, ako yun, ako may gawa nun. Sabi ko, sa'yo yun. I was like, okay. So those are the things that I remember from when I first started in the arts. And I think I was really influenced by that idea that art is expressive, that there is this innate energy in an artwork, and something that I think I've been bringing with me so far. Even if I studied art, I studied curatorial studies, I've been studying art studies for a few years. But that's something that I've always brought with me, having come also from an artist na gumagawa din ng art to express myself. Doon ko siya siguro na itatahi pabalik.
So, daming bola, this art, this podcast is about John Balaguer.
No, but thank you, Panch. But no, I just want to remind you that
Thank
you
you.
were an influence.
Yeah. Thank you. I did not expect that. Man, pero seriously, thank you. That was a nice thing to hear.
Yeah.
Much affirmation yan with the hard
For
work that
sure,
you're
for
doing
sure.
for the industry. Okay.
No, Panch, I will never forget.
Sige, so going back to your art. Kasi I've been following Heights din even after I graduated, lalo na the earlier years when you were still there. Kasi I was checking up on you din from time to time na kumusta. Kasi I think after si Ellie, sino yung...
Jamie.
Si Jamie,
Yeah,
di ba?
yeah.
Si Jamie Bauza. So I was still getting copies and I was looking at her works. And then even some of the alumni are saying, oh, this John Balaguer is really good. Tapos, yun nga, it was photo manipulation and mostly nakalagay siya sa page ng folio. So, were they ever exhibited? Like, did you print them as a large scale tapos exhibited?
Yeah, there was this one exhibition ni Heights that they were able to bring the prints of some of the artworks or the original artworks sa Old Rizal Library.
Wow.
So there was I remember as a student we had to print mine because it was a digital collage. We had to print mine on Sintra board, and then I had to bring it into the gallery. So it was a print, pero for me that was my first exhibition of a work of art in a space. So it was this artwork called Non Omnis Moriar, which was a work that was talking about ghosts. And it was a work that showed this feminine figure that was covered in a veil in a snowy landscape. And basically, it's all of these ways that we find emptiness, and yet they're still there and they're never gone. So yun yung first exhibition ko where I had my work shown, and it also really gave me an idea na wow, this is something that my teenage boy heart is really happy about. So masaya yun. I remember that very well that day. And the way the light hits that emptiness of the artwork was really harrowing. It was harrowing.
Oo, so ito, I interviewed din a few months back si Isabel Francisco. And she started din with digital art. And she printed them and then exhibited them. Tapos yun nga, her equipment broke down. Kaya siya nag-brushes and oil paint. Did you ever consider doing the traditional way of doing art ba?
Yeah, so I did actually. Like I said, I was not formally trained at that time in college. But during the Scholars Week nung kolehiyo natin, I was asked to help with a mural or backdrop of the stage. That was my first experience also doing spray paint work and some oil work. And we did it on the floor. So it was a stage surface. And then there were two of us, me and Mel Kasingsing, who is also now editor-in-chief of publications for creatives. So, kaming dalawa, we talked amongst ourselves how we wanted to do this particular stage. Yun, ginawa namin siya ng spray paint work. We nilapat namin yung all of these materials like tape, etc., to create certain silhouettes, certain forms, etc. But it was this huge project. And after having done that, I said, hey, I feel like something that I want to do also and explore. After a few years, when I was working in Ayala Museum, I studied a little bit of watercolor. I joined some watercolor classes to be able to understand the medium. And though I did enjoy that, hindi ko rin siya natuloy-tuloy. Today, I do still focus on digital artworks. sa tingin ko, what I do with traditional media is really now more on expressive arts, meaning it's not for exhibitions per se, but it's something that I do to tap into something that wants to be said, that wants to surface in me. So yun din yung ginagawa ko na with different people. I bring in the general public in facilitation, arts, expressive arts facilitation. So no, I have not been exhibiting with the traditional media, but my last exhibition was in New York. I brought in a work that was a digital artwork, digital collage, but we printed it on aluminum. So in New York naman, there was an exhibition on liminality in the International House where I stayed for 6 months
During
my ACC residency and fellowship. So this is Asian Cultural Council. In the International House, they wanted to ask residents to contribute to this show about liminality because at this time last year, we know yung mga kaganapan sa mundo, in the US, all of these things happening around us that have not been the best in terms of humaneness of our existence. So they wanted to bring in certain stories from different residents from all over the world. So I contributed this collage work, a digital collage work that showed a photo of the Bronx Zoo. Tapos nilapatan ko siya ng Zen Circle or the Enso. Tapos naglagay ako ng poem to describe the artwork. And basically, it was this reflection na living here amongst different people, which seems like a microcosm of the world right now, ay para bang patapos na yung mundo, para bang ganoon ang nangyayari. Pero alam din natin na meron pang pwede pang mangyari. So I printed that on aluminum and it was exhibited wall-bound. But the idea was that this seemingly fleeting moment can be concrete and that the concrete can also be broken down. So yun yung kanyang mensahe that I wanted to contribute to the world at that time last year. So that was my last exhibition. But yun Punch. My exhibition artworks are mostly collage works. I also worked a little bit with Manila Collage Collective. And up until siguro 2 to 3 years ago when they were still exhibiting in Manila Art. In Art in the Park. But today, mostly just my expressive arts work. Yeah.
Pero it's good to know na you're still doing that. Kasi you're more popular
yes.
now as a curator. Diba? So, yeah, I think, well, yun nga, since you're not doing that naman for exhibitions, yun, I think it's a good thing din to emphasize that, na when you do art, hindi necessarily yung goal niya is it to be shared, di ba? Sometimes you do art na ikaw lang yung audience.
Yeah, for
diba?
sure.
So that's something, and I wanna go back to that, yung sinabi mo expressive
arts.
expressive art. So we will go back to that
Okay.
towards the end of our
Sige,
Kasi once
sure.
I try to tie up things,
Sige.
So we'll jump muna to, ako, I'm super glad that you're still
Yeah.
creating art instead of, I mean,
Yes.
iba kasi yung discipline of curating a show or coming up with something dun sa hands-on making the art,
Yeah.
So those are two different things.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm happy na you're doing both still.
Yeah. I would love to do more production work for my own artworks then. I just need to honestly find the time to sit down and listen to what wants to be expressed. But yes, I was still able to do an exhibition last year in New York in the International House. So sana marami pa. Sana meron this year. Anyone would like to tap an artist curator for a show? Yes, please let me know.
Okay, so yun nga, I mentioned a while ago na you are more popularly known as a curator. How did you make that jump? Kasi you were doing art during college. collage work, digital
Yeah.
art. And then you worked sa Ayala Museum. Is that where it started?
Yeah. So, it started actually before then. Galing ako sa college having had my bachelor's in film and media studies. I also took a minor in poetry creative writing. I thought I was going to go to advertising. I thought I was going to go to journalism. I thought I was going to do ahensya work. And for some time, I did apply to those. I was in marketing, doing graphic design work for a healthcare company. Pero after a while, one of my peers from Heights messaged me, Therese Reyes, who also is now a prolific artist. Ang sabi niya ay, Lex, there's this opportunity for an art gallery that was still new at that time, and they're looking for a gallery assistant. So this was Archivo 1984, and they're now in their 15 years, I'm thinking. Anyway, so at that time, sabi nila, okay, we were looking for an art gallery assistant. So I applied for this. They still had this really small room or gallery near Rockwell, at the back of Rockwell in Palma Hall. Tapos, it was the first gallery that they held. For most of us, we might know Archivo 1984 when they went to Chino Roses or they went na to Caribbean Plaza. But I was with Archivo as early as when they were still a showroom in Palma Palma Street at the back of Rockwell. So doon, I learned about assisting the curators who put up all of these works for specific artists, the different shows and art fairs, for example. My first art fair was Art Fair Philippines 2015. So more than 10 years ago. Tapos we brought in different artists. One of the shows was with Christopher Ardenia, who was returning from Spain. Tapos we brought in certain ghost paintings that he did for the show. Tapos we also did a lot of other artworks naman that were not specifically contemporary. We also brought in mga artworks from the conservative period of the Philippine art history, 1920s to 1950s, Amor Solo works, Manansala, etc., etc. These were mostly collectors' artworks that they wanted to unload. So we created shows for them to be shown into the public as parang art historical or chronological layers to them. But honestly, nung nandoon ako sa gallery work when I first started, syempre commercial world siya. So, ang buhay ko dyan, talagang you will do everything. You will do marketing work, you will do...
You're alone.
We were two people or at least three for one time. But just two of us usually because we had two branches. One was the gallery, the other one was the CCP shop. So, nung nangyayari iyon, ay talagang you had to do everything. You had to do warehouse work, you had to do social media, you had to assist the curators, you had to do the sales aspect of everything because it's a commercial gallery. You had to write for the exhibitions, you had to research about artworks, you had to manage different personalities of artists, all of those things. So, and of course, your co-workers, the gallery founders, etc., etc. So everything had to be clean and perfect. No? So ang buhay ko dyan before, talagang galing ako sa warehouse, nagbubuhat ako ng mga paintings na sobrang lalaki. Tapos talagang pawis na pawis ka, amoy dust ka na and everything. Tapos galing kang Parañaque, papunta ka ng QC for a show or pupunta ka ng Makati for a show. Tapos yung experience ko pa noon, talagang nasa truck kami kasi nga we had to go to the warehouse with truck talaga yung sasakyan. And then I had to start to wear formal clothing for the opening. So talagang very, alam mo yun, yung grabe paspasan talaga, bugbugan. Tapos kailangan mabango tingnan, alam mo yun. So those were some of my first experiences in the art world. Having come from that, I did apply for audience development role sa Ayala Museum. Sa Ayala Museum naman, I came in as an associate for the Tours and Educations Department. So I was in charge of making scripts for tours, creating themed tours for the exhibitions, and also bringing in program para sa curatorial direction ng mga shows. So the curators are coming in with their exhibitions and their research. Us in our team, when we first started, we were the ones who would translate the experience of these exhibitions for the general public. So kami gumagawa ng mga education materials, kami gumagawa ng team tours, kami gumagawa ng conversations with the artists, and kami rin yung naggagawa ng mga workshops at other such talks para dun sa exhibitions ng curatorial team. So that's how it started to develop. From there, marami pang mapupuntahan, but do you want to
Ikaw,
go there?
yeah.
Madami to, Punch.
Yeah.
Madami to.
Hindi kasi what I want din to show kasi sa podcast is there is no one way in kumbaga weaving your way through the art world.
Yeah.
As in, it's a very vast, dynamic
Yes.
ecosystem that has essentially no structure in it. I mean, there are semblances of structure, pero hindi siya like other professions na if you do this, you become this, you climb this ladder, blah, blah, blah. Diba na, like, kuwari, doctors, you need to go to schooling, residency, and then you gain these suffixes and stuff, diba? Sa art, walang ganun.
Yep.
Diba? Kumbaga, you enter there and you look for the openings that you can fit in or that would let
Or you
through.
can try to slide your way in.
Exactly. And this is not true lang for visual artists. This is true for every cultural worker
Absolutely.
involved in our ecosystem.
Yes.
Diba? So it's very, very nice to hear how you kumbaga navigated that path going to where you are now.
Yeah.
Ano? So, sige, let's start off.
Yeah,
for
no,
you.
oo. So I did gallery work, and it made me appreciate na, okay, this is a public space. You have to be able to really present the artworks in a way that can be commercially viable. That's really how I started with my professional career. But then after that, moving into museum work, nagkaroon ako ng chance to create educational programs. Nagkaroon ako ng ways to delve into the scholarship of these artworks. Nagkaroon ako ng chance to bring these artworks into the audience dimension where it could be able to bring development for them. So hindi lang education, pero ano pa kaya yung pwede nilang makuha dito sa mga exhibitions ng museum? Paano pa kaya sila pwede pang gawing much more informed about our culture, and how can they bring their own experiences also into the museum naman. So those were our projects. We brought in different educators, we brought in different curators, we brought in the artists themselves to talk about their works. We created certain themes para magkaroon ng frameworks, yung the way we would engage with these artworks. So yun yung how I remember doing our museum work for some time. But while I was in Ayala Museum, I decided then na sabi ko, parang gusto ko nang mag-deepen pa ng alam ko sa art world. So I took my MA sa UP for curatorial studies. When I was taking my MA, sabi ko, parang I also want to tap into the curatorial field. So there was an opening in the curatorial department sa museum which I applied for, and then I was able to get into the curatorial department naman in my last few years in the museum. So very different yon. Si audience development, of course, we created the programs for the curated exhibitions to be translated to the audience. Sa curatorial work naman, nandito ngayon yung you work directly with the artists, you work directly with scholars, you work directly with writers, You work directly with the curatorial team of the museum, or the curatorial team brought by the artists themselves or the galleries showing in the museum. Tapos it is our job to create research work that can be translated into curatorial dynamics. So kami yung nagbabasa muna ano yung history ni artist, ano yung mga potential na pwede nating what's the word? Ano yung potential na pwede nating i-complicate dito sa ginagawa ni artist? Magbaborrow tayo ng certain from different fields, for example, magbaborrow tayo, and then different art historical moments, pwede rin dating i-borrow yon to create new ones with the artist. Tapos yun yung ilalapat ngayon ng exhibition designer based on the thematized research and writing ng mga researchers. So, nagsisimula yon sa research and writing. Hindi mo mabubuo yung exhibition design kung wala kang tema or wala kang vision kung paano mo ihahalay yung gusto mong i-communicate about this artist or this artwork. So that's what I learned when I was in the curatorial team. At having done that, parang sabi ko, okay, I do enjoy this. I feel like this is something that I want to do. I want to focus also in doing curatorial work because I was also doing my MA at the time for curatorial studies. So sabi ko, maybe this is now a time to practice what I'm doing also outside of the museum. So I created Curare Art Space, and Curare Art Space was a platform, first and foremost, to be able to bring different narratives, new ways of emerging art, new ideas for curatorial work, and the experimental modes of art making. So I tapped artists who would not easily be welcomed in such spaces. So artworks working with animation, or artists working with animation, or artists working with the psychic fields, artists working on the liminalities of the mind. These are all very difficult to objectify. So parang may potentials for institutions to be able to tap into this, but there are not a lot of resources to think about it in a way that can be displayed in the museum setting. So, ginawa ko, sabi ko, sige, why don't we do it in a website format, parang online format, digital format at the very least, para hindi siya bound by space. Hindi siya bound by by the physical constraints. So, artists that I collaborated with at that time had, I guess, fun to experiment with their artworks that were otherwise would not have been displayed in the ways that they thought they could. So magulo ang Curare when it first started. Magulo siya kasi yung artists noon ay nag-eksperimento rin. Hindi rin nila alam kung ano pa ang pwedeng lumabas. They have this idea, but coming into the collaboration, we also did not know what will emerge out of it. So, oftentimes, we would be very working together closely, maraming consultation, maraming back and forth, tapos minsan talagang open din tayo na may mga arguments yan. So, walang problema doon. Talagang we allow for all of these things to surface so that we really bring something that is lived. It's a lived experience. So, yun ang ibinunga naman ng Curare Art Space, having come from the museum experiences.
Before we continue lang, what is a curator?
Okay.
Can we define that first?
Yeah, sure. When you hear the word curator kasi, you oftentimes would think of someone who is glorified in the art world, no? Someone who seems to look all put together, or someone who seems to be an intellectual in the field who is quite how do I say it? Someone who knows the ins and outs of arts management and exhibition design, research, etc., etc. These are all true, but a curator is, when the word curator was first surmised, the curator was really a custodian. So, doong mga unang panahon sa mga museo, ang curator ay someone who takes care of objects. So, custodian siya, making sure that these are all preserved, conserved, and restored, for example, and put in a space that can take care of the histories of and stories of these objects. Ngayon, ang una nating iniisip sa isang curator ay someone who is able to pull together all of these forces and then make sense of it. Okay? Someone who can make sense of these forces and then present it in a way that is easily digestible or in a way that makes sense. So the role of the curator in that way is someone who's like an arts administrator or a conceptual navigator. Pero ngayon, ang curator is also having a moment of evolution, I would say, na spacemaker kasi talaga si curator. Pero ngayon, dahil spacemaker siya. Pero ngayon, dahil spacemaker siya, pwede rin naman niyang i-curate ang experiences. Pwede rin niyang namang i-curate ang imaginations. Pwede rin naman niyang i-curate ang speculations. So, hindi lang naman object-based ang pwedeng gawin ng isang curator. Oftentimes, we think of the curator as someone who is just working with material objects, material culture, ganyan. So, which is true because that's how these professions are defined. You go to museums, you go to art galleries, etc., etc. But there are now curators of experiences. There are now curators of imaginations. Yun. Ang maganda pa ngayon ay yung word na curator ay hindi na nakakatakot. Dati mayroong bigat pag sinabing curator ka, para bang, ano yan, highfalutin, very respectable, gano'n. So may dala-dala siyang weight. Pero honestly, I feel like now, everyone is a curator. Everyone curates their lives in social media. Everyone curates the way they present themselves to the world. Everyone curates how they would like to be perceived. So marami ng curatorial modes in the daily lives of people na hindi na siya ngayon separate from our daily life and from our experience of a museum setting, ganyan. So dati takot din kami as people who were studying curatorial studies in UP when we were taking subjects like art, curatorial theory, etc., etc., audiences, markets, at platforms. Pag sinabing curator sa simula, parang it feels so exclusive. But in UP, at least when we were studying curatorial studies, we wanted to make sure na yung ginagawa namin ay para sa audience, para sa tao, para sa masa. Hindi lang siya ibibigay dahil marunong ka. Gagawin mo iyon para mayroon kang kontribusyon. So, it can come in many forms. The contribution can be social, the contribution can be affective, the contribution can be organizational, or merely just personal, pwede rin naman. Pero sa tingin ko, ngayon ang curator is someone who is just able to bring in all of these experiences, take one thing from one field to bring into this one artist artwork or theme that you want to explore, at yun yung ibubuhay niya, try niya yung pag-awayin, try niya yung pagbanggain, or try niya rin yung i-harmonize, try niya siyang i-deflect, etc., etc. So si curator sa tingin ko at the end of the day ay isang experimenter. Hindi na siya may alam lang. Siya na ngayon ang nagbibigay ng possibilities. Siya na ngayon ang nagbibigay na ano kaya kung ganito? Or naisip ba natin na pwede rin kaya ito? Or artist, hindi ba natin pwedeng gawin din ito in this way? Parang ganoon ngayon yung trabaho niya. Para ba siyang collaborator that allows for newer modes of thinking? your perspectives in how else you can experience art.
Do you think ba na the curator needs to be schooled?
Well, maganda na mayroong academic background ang isang curator, but honestly, the curatorial mode is very organic. It's very natural. Yung inaaral sa curatorial studies are really just ito nga mga platforms of curatorial work, audiences, syempre mga modes of curation, etc., etc. And of course, all of the politics involved in it, the forces that are framing or coding and allowing meanings or not in the curatorial field. Pero sa tingin ko naman, ang experience natin ng pag-curate ay paano mo dadalhin yung isang idea at ibubuo mo siya sa space. So kung meron kang idea, like gusto kong i-explore ang idea ng mahika at gusto kong ilapat yon sa gawa nitong artist na hindi naman siya magician, pero parang mayroon siyang sensibilities ng isang magician. Isa siyang artist na naniniwala sa beyond, for example. Isa siyang artist na para ba siyang nagluluto ng iba-ibang puwersa para gumawa at magsalita tungkol sa posibilidad. So parang hahanapin yun ngayon ni curator ng ways to find communication between these two forces. Tapos doon niya babanggain at doon niya i-harmonize at doon natin I forgot the question, Pash. Nasaan na ba tayo?
No. I asked you if it was if the curator was learned.
Okay.
Should be learned. Pero ito kasi,
Yes.
the reason why I asked that kasi sinabi you mentioned din a while ago na the word is being used loosely nowadays, 'di ba? Not just sa art scene pero with everything. 'Di ba? Like this is how you curate your social media account, this is how you curate your home, blah blah blah. So yung word itself is becoming a common term because of how it's portrayed na it's an easy thing to do. Pero I'm asking you if a curator should be learned kasi you've gone through great lengths into studying the concept behind curatorial work and it's not that simple. Diba? There are things that you need to consider in order to be able to, what you, in your own words nga, pull these forces together and turn it into one whole thing, diba? And I think it comes with talent and it comes with a good listening skill din and a good intuition of things, ano? Pero it also has to have a sort, kasi for example, I'm going to use myself again. Ano?
Yes.
I avoid using other people kasi baka mamaya niyan. I might sound patronizing. Ano? Pero to use myself as an example, or you. So tayo self-taught tayo na artist. Di ba? Pero yung pagiging self-taught natin, hindi naman natin to ginawa na which painted something and exhibited it, di ba? There is a lot of research going through that. Kumbaga, we became who we are now because of our practice.
Yeah.
And how we apply, kumbaga naging tayong practitioner at hindi academic.
Yeah.
Kasi you can be both, pero those two things have their differences din. And you gain respect if you keep doing this. If you're a practitioner and you do your homework, di ba? You just didn't go through the usual educational part, pero yun nga, you gain respect by doing that.
Yeah.
Part of the reason why I ask, kasi yun nga, you worked hard. A lot of curators I know worked hard to get a sense of how to bring all those forces together nga and make magic out of them, di ba? Pero there are also a lot who use the word loosely and to connect it to their names para lang magkaroon ng gravitas dun sa art scene.
Okay.
Kumbaga, it's part of a play. Di ba? So siguro that's where what I'm trying to get out of you na is it a good thing na it has somehow lost yung gravitas niya na people are using it commonly, or is it a bad thing, or do people need to take it more seriously and put the weight back on the title?
Yeah.
Ano?
Sa tingin ko ang importante lang if you identify as a curator is to have that sense that as a curator you are a carer. You're someone who is not just a custodian who is just able to preserve, able to conserve, able to organize. More than a custodian, you are someone who is able to take care of objects, take care of artists, take care of ecosystems, all of these players that have been contributing to the work of art, and really to take care that you are not someone who would exploit certain forces just so you get your message across. So, yun ang accountability ng isang curator sa tingin ko. And even if the word is loosely used now, what's important, I think, is that if you are using your scholarship, your knowledge, your intuition to bring these ideas together, that you do not mishear the stories, that you do not focus on just one story, that you do not just think about what the artists want also, but also challenge the artists to think differently as well. Paano kung pwede ring iba, di ba? Paano kung pwede rin pa tayo mag-imagine pa? So I think it's the curator's role now, despite how the world is being used and what education these curators have, is what you do with that power. Power yun eh.
Exactly.
Power yun
Exactly.
eh. What
Yeah.
you do with that
Okay,
power is what
Which is
matters.
why, I mean, people we don't know of, create a show tapos ang laking curated by. Ako, I have an issue with that.
Yes.
Kasi the real curators may curated by,
Mm.
pero they're the same footing as the artists. Kasi it's a collaboration eh. Diba? Here are artists, here are our works, curator,
Yeah.
part of the whole show eh.
Mm-mm.
Kumbaga, you're supposed to be on the same footing with the artists.
Yeah.
Hindi yung you're not the main.
Yes, it should be a collaboration.
Oo.
If anything, the artist should still have the stage. The curator is someone who is able to understand that they were there to bring this upon the stage, not the main the central force that allowed this to happen. Nothing against those who would do that, but for me, like I said, mas mainam at mas mahalaga ng ang isang curator ay someone who cares less about their power but how they use their power to bring important stories today. So,
Ganda.
yun, no?
Ganda. So, coming off from that, let's go back dun sa curatorial journey mo with Kurare.
Okay.
Diba? So, understanding that, if I may summarize lang a bit what you said, the main idea of a curator is care.
Mhm.
Taking care of things, and the more important thing for a curator to do is how to bring that story authentically, genuinely
Mm.
forward. So, yan. Again, kung genuine yan, may care involved. Ganda.
Yeah.
Okay, galing.
Oh, thank you.
So,
Sa
going
Kurare,
back to
oh.
dun sa mo, so how do you apply these
Yeah,
things?
yeah.
Like, so you talked about Kurare Art Space and
Mm.
how you're dealing with these avant-garde concepts, and then having an online platform to showcase them, and yun nga, with care as a main concept, and the authenticity, the genuine stories moving forward, presenting it to the public, diba? So, continue on
Sure.
that
Absolutely.
part of the.
So, sa Kurare, we receive proposals first and foremost. We receive proposals from artists. Tapos yung gusto nilang sanang dalhin sa plataforma ay titingnan natin kung paano natin yon bubuhayin. And some of the artists that we've worked with are artists who want to explore something new in their portfolio, or they want to explore an idea or theme that hasn't been supported in other spaces. So doon pa lang meron ng parang accessibility sa Kurare na parang, yes, we want to hear these stories here. If other galleries do not find this, for example, saleable, or if museums do not find this as exhibitable, then dito pa lang pwede na nating hanapan yan ng materialization. Dito pa lang pwede na natin hanapan yan ng way na pwede mong i-explore or i-exhibit. So some of the artists we've worked with are artists who are really delving into themes such as themes such as the idea of speculation, possibility. Paano kung may ganitong ways? For example, artists like Jerome Soriano, who delved into the idea of the what ifs, of the potentials, of the possibilities, like um, trying to find something better about how he as an artist could contribute into the world. So meron siyang ginawang notes. Okay, gumawa siya ng notes, automatic writing siya, at gumawa siya ng mga artworks that delved into how this particular time needs these particular sensibilities, like what ifs, ano pa kaya ang pwede. So nagkaroon siya ng idea na yung paggawa ay pwede ring hindi patapos. Yung paggawa ay pwede ring binubuo pa lamang, at nagkaroon kami ng reflection na paano kung ganun nga ang curatorial work, paano kung ganun nga ang art making, at paano kung ganun ang pag-worlding, na hindi naman talaga naghahanap ng katapusan, naghahanap lang tayo ng posibilidad. So yung mga artworks na nagawa niya were similar to scrolls, hanging scrolls, and he wrote different affirmations, he tried to collect different symbols from different cultures, at ipinataw niya yon sa artwork. At yun yung hinang namin sa Anima Art Space a few years back.
So may Kurari online siya, and then may
Oh, yeah. So, it first started as an online platform, but after a while, different galleries were excited to partner with us also to bring these shows in on-site, but there's still an online component. So some artworks are found in the online space, some artworks were found in the physical gallery. So yung mga ganoong klaseng care also involved how the artist wanted to explore it. So as a curator, kailangan makinig sa artist, ano kaya yung mga sensibilities niya, ano yung kanyang inspirasyon para dito. At instead of me saying, hindi, I think this is the best way to do this particular artwork or this curation of your artwork, parang it was more collaborative in a way na babanggain din namin kung ano yung mga ideas naming dalawa. We ask, ano kaya mangyari pag ganito? Sasabihin din ni artist, parang may ganitong mangyayari dyan. Ano kaya pag ganito naman? So parang we're always speculating. It's a very slow process. Some of the projects can take as short as 1 to 2 months, or sometimes 2 to 3 years. So meron
Really?
kaming mga artworks
Yeah,
at
wow.
exhibitions na nabuo siya in 2 years or so. So itong long-term artworks naman ay itong long-term exhibitions naman ay talagang nangangailangan ng pakikinig, nangangailangan ng pag-imagine. At yun yung sa tingin ko nagkukulang minsan sa conventional spaces like museums, nagkukulang minsan sa commercial spaces like galleries. So ano pa, definitely I offer some of my curatorial background sa artist. So that's also part of the care in a way. Kasi yung mga artists na ito, I just want them to focus on production. Minsan kasi si artist parang iniisip niya pa kung paano niya isusulat, iniisip niya pa kung paano niya papagalawin yung kanyang exhibition, iniisip niya pa kung paano niya i-display yon minsan. So may ganun ding sensibilities, and that's good that the artist is able to think in such a bird's eye view. Pero I would like to make space as a curator and collaborator. I would like to make space for the artists to focus on what they really want to do, and oftentimes that's broad work. Some artists just want to focus on doing their artworks and think a little bit less about how to manage or administrate yung kanilang mga ginagawa. So doon din ako pumapasok as someone who has had that experience na, sige, hayaan na natin si artist gumawa. Ako na mag-iisip how we will bring this into the gallery field, paano natin siya gagawing mas engaging. I create programs for artist talks and different ways also to bring out this exhibition pa. So, yun siguro yung care doon. Pero para sa akin, in a larger perspective, care comes in because we are making space for stories that would otherwise not have been heard.
Yes.
in conventional spaces.
Here, here.
Yeah.
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 Ganda. I love that. I love that quote. And yeah. When I floated the idea of this art podcast, a lot of friends were asking how they could support. The easiest way is to hit the subscribe button. It's free. It's just one click, but it will do wonders for Studio Maya. So please subscribe, and we will work very, very hard in improving our set. Thank you. Aside from curating, you also won the Purita Calao Awards for art criticism ba? Yeah. Is that yung Purita Calao ba? Is it related to your curatorial work, or is it a different thing altogether?
Si Purita Calao Ledesma was a prize under the Ateneo Art Awards. In 2019, I received the award for Art Asia Pacific. So noong panahong iyon, mayroong dalawang publications who would give these opportunities for art writers to be published in their magazines. So yung una was in Philippine Star, the other was for Art Asia Pacific magazine, which was Hong Kong based. So
Really?
Yes, it was.
So you have articles internationally?
Yes. Oh,
Tapos
naman.
what do you write about? If it's international, you write about Philippine art?
Yes, I wrote about exhibitions, contemporary art exhibitions in the Philippines. So in 2019, I wrote about exhibitions from here, different shows in the CCP, different shows in Vinyl on Vinyl. I wrote about some shows in Silverlands, etc., etc.
Wow.
And those were all published in the Art Asia Pacific region-based magazine, the Art Asia Pacific magazine. So yun, I received that award, and the award was to be able to write for that magazine. And we had at least 9, if I remember correctly, at least 9 articles to be published there. But even after my contract, I pwede pang mag-contribute. So I would pitch articles or stories, and then they would send back if they would like to have this story in the magazines. So I still continued working with them after a few years. They have a change of management now, but I continue to be connected to some of my editors. Yung award na nakuha ko doon was due to a submission that was critiquing an exhibition of that year. So I submitted a critique on one of the shows of Ayala Museum. I used to be part of the Ayala Museum, but at that time I was no longer working there. So it was a show on Mark Lewis Higgins, and he brought portraits that he painted about inspired by these mythical archetypes of Indochina, Malay Peninsula, of the Asian region. Tapos the museum brought in a set designer who borrowed a collection of objects from the museum, specifically objects from the pre-colonial era, Millennium of Contact exhibition of ceramics from China, Vietnam, Thailand, and the Gold of Ancestors exhibit in the museum, which were pre-colonial gold in the Philippines. So parang binaba nila iyon doon sa konteksto ng contemporary art. At ang anggulo ko sa criticism ko was the museum in this exhibition is like a heterotopia, a space that is liminal, a space that compresses time, a space that compresses history. So, given na binaba yung mga objects sa museum at given na hindi naman talaga deliberately na gustong ipahatid ni Mark Lewis Higgins yung kanyang portraits as actual historical people, this became like a whole blob of historical time. It was like a time capsule that was honestly sumasabog siya, if I would say. It was an exploding time capsule. For me, the heterotopia is not necessarily positive nor negative. It's just a space that gives us a different way to reflect upon times, timelines, and histories. So, itong exhibition na ito became my ideation na that the museum is like an atomic bomb. It's a time capsule that if you continue to compress it into these narratives that are archetypal or outside of their histories, pwede siyang maging nuanced. May layer siya na syempre ay mawawala yung social at historical layer niya. At atomic bomb siya para sa akin kasi volatile yung ganong klaseng espasyo. Even if it allows for these exhibitions to be speculated, mayroon siyang history dala-dala, so parang nawawala yon. So para sa akin, pag nagkaroon ng ganong klaseng compression, pwedeng sumabog yung space. So yun yung one of my ideas that garnered the award in 2019, and I was able to write for Art Asia Pacific magazine for a whole year
Oo,
because of that.
Tapos, does it go hand in hand ba with your curatorial work, your art writing? Are they different ba, or are they related, or how must one treat art writing and curating ba?
For me, work siya together. Kasi, para sa akin, the way you write about a show is how you understand the exhibition. I also do a lot of curatorial writing. So if you go to a museum, you see the exhibition texts. That's also the work of an art writer or curator, oftentimes. So para sa akin, if you are able to translate the curatorial mode into this very compressed art writing that's accessible to the public, that's really a language that everyone can understand. It takes a lot of
yung art writing, they make it highfalutin.
in magazines. Yes,
really?
in magazines, in criticism, they do. But I try to avoid that. I try not to write in these hard to decipher languages. Para sa akin, lalo na pag intro text siya, pag museum text siya, para sa akin, magkukwento lang ako. Gusto kong ipa-surface yung gustong gawin ni artist. Gusto kong ilabas yung gusto niya ring mangyari. At gusto ko ring ipataw yung sa tingin ko ay ano kaya yung ginagawa niya at paano kaya ito nampupukaw ng tao. So that's how I would do my exhibition texts. I got a chance to write for different galleries in the past years, like Finale.
Studio Maya, you wrote here.
Yes, oh, thank you. Yes. So yeah, I have had chances to write for different art galleries. And when I approached those exhibition writing, I literally would call the artists. I wanted to know their stories. Sabi ko, bakit mo dala-dala itong klaseng interest sa ganitong bagay? Bakit?
Wait lang, yung mga kinurate mo pang shows with yung mga artist mo sa Kurari, diba sa Altromundo nag-show sila doon?
Okay.
Oo, and
yes.
Actually, marami na siyang galleries na pinagsulatan. Pero syempre, I mean, you're trying to find yung the major ones.
Yeah, so I wrote for Mo Space, I wrote for Modeca, and many other galleries. Museums also, I wrote for different museums and curated museum shows then for my sub. But for me, art writing and curatorial writing is curatorial work. Hindi mo masaseparate yan because the way the space is constructed, to be able to make meanings out of it, you have to have your pedagogy. Pedagogy is partly the intro texts, but also the experience of walking around the space. So, actually, nung nasa Asian Cultural Council ako, yun yung inaral ko sa New York. I visited 60 plus museums and curatorial and studied the way that they did curatorial writing. So, binabasa ko lahat ng intro texts, binasa ko yung labels, binasa ko yung captions, lahat yun yung ine-engagean kong material. At dahil alam ko yung pagko-curate, ay binabangga ko yun sa kung paano din nila ginawa yung space. So, parang that was my research. Kung ano yung sinasabi sa art writing at sa curatorial writing, binabangga ko siya sa paano present in the actual material space. I found out that in my research there, I found out that oftentimes the way the artworks are written are now ways that the spaces are also delving into difficult histories. For example, sa Brooklyn Art Museum, they created this show about American art. And American art is laden with difficult histories, slavery, and BIPOC narratives, etc., etc. So they had this one exhibition show where they had portraits of the elite white folk. At ang ginawa nila ay binaba nila yung portrait to the level of the audience pag nakaupo sila. And they put benches in front of these portraits so that you can sit down and parang have a conversation in this level of where we are at. And the idea was the creator is Sparling Williams. Ang kanyang idea was to bring these people who were seemingly elite to sit down. Parang umupo ka muna, sit down. Parang get out of your high horse, sit down. So umupo ka, nandito kami sa level na nakaupo. Umupo ka, upuan mo rin itong bench. Or sit down, get yourself out of your high horse. So mga ganong klaseng espasyo yung inaral ko doon na hindi lang ipepresenta yung artwork pero parang the way you engage with the artworks also. And the way they curated also was found in the exhibition texts. Usually, when you do your exhibition text, isulat mo lang yung history. Sino ba tong babaeng to? Ano yung history niya? Paano siya nag-contribute? Bakit ganyan yung portrait niya? Anong klaseng tao siya? Pero doon sa exhibitions na inaral ko when I was in New York, in this particular one in Brooklyn, ay ang in-invite nila to write about the caption was a drag queen. Si Miss Cracker, if you watch RuPaul's Drag Race, they invited a drag queen from New York to write about this woman. So, ang sinulat doon ni Miss Cracker was, sino ba tong babaeng to? Ang ganda ng suot niya, very luxurious, ganyan niya. Pero tinatago niya pala dyan sa suot niyang napakagara na mayroon siyang connection sa slavery. Siya pala yung, bumibili pala siya ng slaves. Parang all of these things were now being surfaced through art writing that was no longer just with the power of the scholar or the curator, but now with the power of the people who were invited by the curator, Sparling Williams, to bring in their own interpretations, their own narratives of this portrait that seemingly was out of time, out of our own time. So,
that's how you fucking do things.
yun. So, yun yung ano ko.
What
Yun
a
yung-
man. Shit, thank you.
So
Thank you talaga.
I'm so excited for those kinds of ways. They're definitely decolonializing the
Yes.
museum space. But
Wow.
for me, speculative din siya kasi paano kung mayroon pa ngang other ways of interpreting these artworks? They're portraits of white people. We've seen so many thousands of works like that in the different museums, for example.
So, church.
And in churches, yeah, absolutely, 'di ba? Parang ito yung it represents power, it represents hierarchy, exactly, authority. But nandito tayo ngayon, iba na yung mundo. Parang we are now the ones who are holding our own narratives. We are now the ones who make our own stories, and institutions like museums shouldn't tell us who we are. So nandoon na tayo naman yung bumubuo ng sarili nating mga kwento. So by inviting people who seemingly are detached from the museums but are actually stakeholders of the museums, tayo naman yung gumagawa ng mga naratibo natin. So for me, yun yung na-excite pa ako, and coming from that residency, I want to bring that into my own practice.
Man, I'm excited for what you're going to come up with.
Yeah.
I mean, you're what, 35?
35.
Ay na, pare, isaw palumpasan mo yung... I hope you do groundbreaking work, ano?
Thank you, Punch.
Yun nga, we'll go back to that later. You mentioned din during the earlier parts of the interview about expressive artwork, ano? And ano yun? Sige, give us lang a brief thing about that. So, brief ano lang about the expressive art.
Ang kwento kasi niyan, Punch, di ba nga galing tayo sa institution. I worked in museums, I worked in heritage, I worked in commercial spaces. At one point, nasa auctions din ako. So talagang I've been through the arts ecosystem as an actual player. At ang na-realize ko while being in that art world is, yun na nga, parang where are the spaces that where there really is, where radical care exists? Not a lot. Ang sagot ko doon ay wala masyado. At parang ikaw, maghihirap ka pa para lang makapag-care ka. So, having come from these experiences in my residency, gusto ko na ngayon na mag-delve into ano naman yung mga ways na pwede natin gamitin yung art as a way to heal. Ano naman yung ways na pwede natin gamitin yung art for well-being, for wellness, at yung mga museums ba, meron din bang ganung mga klaseng potentials? The answer is yes. When I visited, for example, this museum in Maine, in Portland, Maine, ang ganda ng kanilang expressive arts program. They did mindful looking sa mga artworks nila. Basically, when you come into the museum counter, they give you a handout. Tapos doon sa handout, may steps kung paano mo pwedeng tingnan ang isang artwork in a mindful way. Paano ka huminga gamit yung mga forma, paano mo ititrace yung linya para magkaroon ka ng appreciation sa kanyang surface level work, at paano mo iisipin at palulutangin yung enerhiya ng isang kulay, for example. At ano ang nararamdaman ng katawan mo habang nasa harap ka nitong klaseng painting. Those are the things that we forget today as art world professionals. Minsan hinahanap natin yung malakas na history, may may malakas na mensahe to, intense to kasi yung kanyang paglalaro sa konsepto ay nagagawa niya sa forma. Very intellectualized. Sa mindful art looking, ay binabalik natin yung art as just something that allows us to slow down. It allows us to recognize the layers, recognize the elements, at we remove ourselves from the expectation that I have to get something deep out of this. So it's now a wellness tool, and museums have started to apply this in their programming. So galing ako doon sa museum na yon, at sabi ko parang ang ganda rin nitong gawin sa practice ko. So before I went to New York, I actually joined a certification course with the Arts and Health Institute Philippines, or TAHI. Sila ay nagtitrain ng mga expressive arts facilitators. So, nagkaroon ako ng chance to study different modules like dance therapy, expressive arts therapy for visual and tactile material, drama therapy, movement, etc., etc., creative writing, all of that. So, parang ang ganda lang na mayroon ulit na modality sa art na hindi pa ganoon kabigat. Yung art na pinanggalingan ko o natin ay masyado ng maingay. Masyado siyang maingay. Parang at least mayroon ulit na modality na para bang babalikan lang natin yung essential dito rin sa art production, sa pagtingin, sa pag-express, no? So expressive arts is literally poesis, meaning, so expressive arts is really utilizing these different modalities of art: dance, movement, visual art, sculpture, etc., etc., to be able to create personal meaning making, allowing for your experiences to be brought in a tactile or somatic level, and creating through art by allowing your own expressions to surface. So, minsan, dahil nasa art world industry na tayo, sinasabi na sa atin kung anong meaning nitong artwork na to. Itong history ng art, social realism, itong modernism, what is abstraction, very institutionalized na siya. Pero in the worldview of expressive arts, arts are now ways for psychosocial support. Pwede natin siyang gamitin para mapalabas yung gustong i-express ng isang individual. Pwede natin gamitin ito sa konteksto ng mga those who have certain traumas. Pwedeng siyang gawing tools para ma-express nila yung kanilang resilience. Paano nila gagamitin ng art to become grounded back again to their lived realities. So, napaka-empowering ng ganong klaseng pagtingin sa sining, at sa tingin ko ay nandoon na rin ako as a curator today. Parang more than the exhibitions, more than pedagogies of art writing, more than the curatorial modes of space making, ay ngayon ang iniisip ko na as a curator, paano ko ngayon dadalhin yung mga artworks in a way that can create these experiences that allow for wellness, allow for well-being, allow for slowness, allow for coming back to the body, allow for more personal resilience in this world that's filled of chaos, di ba? So recently, I've been working with a online platform, and we have constructed programs that we bring in artworks from different museums all over the world. And these are artworks na wala nang, they're Creative Commons licenses na. So wala na silang copyright. And they have been around for centuries. Artworks like works by Spanish artists and their bodegon from 1700s, artworks by Edvard Munch na nasa Creative Commons na, artworks by Hokusai, etc. etc. So, sa art history or sa contemporary art, patay na itong mga artists na to. Parang people just go back here because they want to study history or they want to borrow certain concepts from their historical contexts. Pero sa expressive arts, pwede ulit siyang gamitin as bubuhayin mo ulit siya, titingnan mo siya in a new way without your preconceived notion of it. Babaybayin mo yung surface niya, titingnan mo yung elements niya, titingnan mo how your body reacts to it. At aalamin mo kung paano kapag gagawa ng different meanings for it. So ang maganda sa expressive arts bunch, after namin mag-exercise ng mindful looking, ay gumagawa sila ng sarili nilang artworks. Either they create something inspired by this artwork called aesthetic response. So they respond to how they experience that artwork by creating their own artworks. So it can be in the form of movement, dance, visual and tactile work, or oftentimes poetry. So nagsusulat sila about their experiences of engaging with this artwork. At ang daming lumalabas na parang napupukaw ulit yung creativity mo, na yung kanyang mind view ay para bang nababanlawan. So, yun ang aking gustong i-explore pa as a curator now in this world where there's a lot of chaos, where even museums that were supposed to be safe spaces are now spaces that have contested histories. Parang paano natin babalikan yung art as a way to be well, to have joy, to have the essence of being human, which is to create, to make meanings out of what you're doing. So, yun.
Sobrang dehumanized na sobrang commodified na ng buong mundo na we need to go back to our humanity in order to really understand what's happening, So, wow, that is expressive art, So, I was going to use it as a segue to the spiritual stuff.
Okay.
Kumbaga, it's a whole topic on its own.
Sure.
Yeah, so that was a very informative interview, and I think I want to double down lang on the message of becoming or being a curator. Kasi I think the most important thing that I heard from you today is the main job of a curator is to show care. Not just with the project, not just with the artwork, pero with everything involved in it, And I think for all its impression or reputation of being a curator, na mataas, na may authority, I think this is more, alam mo yun, it feels ironic na its main job is to give care. And then it has this whole image of authority. So, and I say that kasi we're in a world where there is a lot of turmoil. The Strait of Hormuz is being opened and closed, and then everyone's essentially bombing, even in Southeast Asia with Thailand and Cambodia, diba? And then in South Asia with Pakistan, Afghanistan, and then India, and then the whole thing that we're experiencing at the West Philippine Sea.
Yeah.
So, kumbaga, care is not in everyone's, survival is in everyone's mind, pero caring for people, even the environment, diba? I mean, it's something that we should go back to.
Yeah.
So, man, that was educational, that was very inspiring. John, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
Pan. Salamat, Pan. Salamat.
Thank you.
Thank you.